Hey, what's that? That sneaking giant. Oh my god.
Hello, welcome to another episode where we open, yet again, 50 Season 1 Legacy Caches. I'm gonna put them in a combined playlist so you can see whatever you want to see and how much you want to see of it. Like if you want to see 100, 200, 300, I'm just gonna keep on stacking them, attempting to, I guess. If you come here often, don't forget to like, comment and sub. And yeah, let's jump straight into it. We start with Dardanelles. A very good bombard gun. Has on ships like the Brigantine a 4 gun parts on the side, which is very strong because with the unison perk you shoot everything at the same time at that quadrant. So on the left side you shoot everything, at the front you shoot everything. Explosive 3, so explosive damage plus its AoE, so it's handy for dealing with bigger amount of mobs close to each other. Twin Winch Ballista, very good weapon. You have the double draw, twice as long for increased damage and range. The range to 1350 makes it very good for you to catch any other enemies that are far away. Also very good against weak spots on buildings because you have piercing, so you do 75% extra damage to weak spots. The Gamba Kobe, which is mainly, if used as a lower tier weapon for sealing, reduce the damage taken from flood effect by 28%. You already have like 40% less for negation for flooding, so it's a good armor against flooding. But it's just, yeah, beginning. Then we go to Rama's Legacy, Cataclysm. So torpedoes shoot simultaneous as well, just like the Dardanelles, like with special perk, but these shoot all at the same time. So Cataclysm deals an increased amount of damage for every simultaneous hit. So my bark has 3 side slots for the ports, but if you have like Brigantine, you have 4. You hit 4 and you deal more damage for every simultaneous hit. Deals flooding damage and increase the damage by 150% when your target is beyond 100 meters. A Basilisk 3, which is the Culverin version for the radar for the crew attack ship. A lot of people use Zamazama trees, but the Basilisk is the Culverin. Has a little bit more range to it. It has piercing and charge the vulnerable effect a little bit quicker, like any other weapon. Another Dardanelles, which is great. Then we got La Potente schematics, which is handy for fighting anything that has to do with the Fleet of Pestilence, because you deal increased damage to weak points to enemy ships, and it reveals the weak points on the Fleet of Pestilence, because you can't see them if you don't have this equipped when you're fighting the Fleet of Pestilence. Any other appliances that it deals extra weak points, so any weak point you hit, you get 10% extra damage. Loophole 2 is a centerpiece. It uses mortar bombs. It gives flooding and explosive damage, which is great, but I'm gonna destroy this one purely for the factor of that it's in the way and I don't want any 2s. LaFlow, I use this one myself. You can see it on the ship. It releases a toxic fume for a short period upon impact, dealing damage and stopping crew stamina. Damage from toxic fuels cannot be blocked by bracing, and it's also explosive damage. So you try to tear somebody's sails, then you hit it, then it saps the energy so they can't brace no longer. Wailing Ward, very good armor from Season 1, especially for dealing with the La Peste problem at that point. So you reduce damage and crew stamina depletion from toxic attacks, plus you reduce crew stamina depletion at the start of bracing. So instead of the 100% stamina depletion you get, you only take 60% of the start for bracing, which is great. Long Nines, very good long range weapons. They have a range of 1000. They can deal 7000 damage after the Torn Sail effect is applied. So if you apply the Torn Sail effect with the Long Nines, you get 7000 damage, which cannot be braced. It will be true damage, so if you want to finish somebody off and he's bracing all the time, great way to do it. Also has Tearing 2, so it increased damage by 50% when hitting sails, so that's great. Plus you also deal extra 100% damage to weak points. La Potente schematics. A gunner squadron. I personally don't use it, but the thought about it is you decrease the reload time by 50% for the same weapon used to destroy a weak point from at least 320 range. This applies only to the first shot. So if you are 320 meters away, you hit the weak spot, you decrease the reload time by 50% for that weapon used, only the first shot. So that's an interesting build-up. Another Dardanelles. Great Spring L2, which is like... I moved him. Oh, I'm so good. I can do the mouse thingy. Or it doesn't select the Basilisk. This one has Tearing 2, Piercing 2, and the draw for increased damage. Has 900 meters. It's still a good one, but I prefer the Spring L3, so I'm destroying this one so it doesn't take up space in my inventory. The Black Prince, one of the higher end armors that a lot of people use for PvE, and lately for PvP it has been used, but it's rotating a little bit between the Season 2 armors, but you never know. The main thing benefit about this armor is that it has resistance to explosive, fire, and piercing. The main damage people lately use is explosive and fire and piercing. Not a lot of people use flooding like torpedoes for main damages in PvP. So that's why this armor is so good. Plus it has resolute. So when you're below 33% HP, you take 50% less damage. If you combine that with a rigging station, you are very hard to kill. Termite tree, mainly used against any building sieges, so you increase the damage to structures, you do burning, piercing, and overall it's a bunch of damage if you manage to hit him. But if you're shit like me, then you don't. I'm very bad at hitting it. Okay, Carronades. These are also the Culverins, so they have lower decks. So if I put them on the side with a mouse button, I can compare. You have 7 shots. They do flooding damage, 10% of the damage. Plus, once they are in the flooded effect stage, you get 50% of damage added as severe damage. So whenever somebody's flooding, you see water coming out of the side of the ship, you will do severe damage. Some ships cannot handle that because severe damage cannot be healed by all means. You either need an Ouroboros armor or having a bark around, or any other lethal healing damage ship. So for some builds it's good, otherwise it's very bad. It's mainly meant to smother somebody, just keep building lethal till they die. War drums, something you can buy from the store in Telok and St. Anne. Reduce crew stamina depletion by 50% while trimming in combat. I've never used it. I won't use it, to be honest, because I don't trim that much and I have food to use, so that's fine. Royal Custodian, everybody knows this. This is a very common armor. I think I got 70 of them. When you apply a repair kit or when you use it, you have 12 seconds of increased armor by 35%, which is great. It's good overall stat, good for beginning armor. It will carry you through. For the later stage of the game, it could still be useful. Extra armor is always good. And since there's now armor buffing furniture, maybe it might work. But for now, I prefer to have the Black Prince with the rigging station. Another Basilisk tree. Oh, another Basilisk tree. No! Wrong button. I was trying to mute. Oops. Oh, now you have a no. Great Spring L3. This is like the better version. Has the same draw, tearing and piercing, but just a little bit more damage. So that's great. Rama's Legacy. We've seen those. War drums. Loophole tree. There we go. So we've seen the Loophole 2, the Loophole 3. I used to run on my Brigantine originally. I need to rephrase Brig because Brig is a new ship for Season 2. And Brigantine is the original ship. So it adds 20% of damage as flooding and it adds 15% of damage as explosive. The blast is not that major, but the flooding is handy because if you keep pumping it in PvE, you do sustainable damage. So any effect like flooding, a blaze, will cause damage over time, which cannot be braced, which is great. Another War drums, great. Rama's Legacy. Kalinikos Flame. So there are sneaky mouse. Okay. So there are a couple ways for... there are a couple weapons that will allow you to charge a vulnerable effect faster. And the Kalinikos Flame is one of them as well. It deals burning damage because it's a flamethrower. Logical, huh? And it increased the charge rate of the vulnerable effect by 50%. So you can charge very, very quick. This is great. Good asset. I personally don't use it because I prefer to have, like, if I'm on the Sambook, the fire bombards. But it could be a viable solution if you're in the beginning stages of the game or medium. Another LeFlo. Royal Custodian. A Skurlock Long 9. Oh. Another Kalinikos Flame 3. Rama's Legacy. Wrathful Ward. Okay, this is, I call it the fart armor. So, this armor has like 25 flooding, 25 explosive protection, 15 piercing and fire. It's decent, but the thing is, like, the perks are interesting. So when your ship gets hit while bracing, so when you have your brace active, a noxious class releases around the ship that deals 3000 poison damage and depletes crew stamina. So you can practically, if you can stay close to somebody, just fart around your ship all the time. It has a cooldown of 10 seconds, but that's not a lot. That's the Wrathful Ward again. Ooh. Loophole 2. We're gonna get rid of that because it's in the way. Shalai 3. Yeah, we haven't seen that one in this episode. This one is Torpedo, which has explosive and flooding and increased damage by 150%. So it might be very useful in the later stages when you can buff it even more. There's a couple items you can already put in your ship that increases the damage and the speed for the torpedoes. But this one is very nice, handy. Overall damage is good. Fire rate is great. Looks like a solid medium setup for torpedoes. Zama Zama. This is... can I do the... oh, I'm so good. This is the shotgun version for the... I've told already about the Basilisk. This one is like a demi-cannon, the Zama Zama. It deals fire damage, which is great on the Sambook. And it also increases the charge rate of the vulnerable effect. So you can keep on crew attacking. It's great to use. 20-range ballista. War drums again. Carronades. Ooh. Thermites 2. Which are just 1288 and 16. Yeah, it's like a 3000 difference in damage. That's why I don't keep them. Kawaka 2. This one is mainly known for their reduced incoming damage from ramming. But if you look at the stats, it has 30% piercing, 30% fire, and 30% flooding damage mitigation, which is good because a lot is fire flooding. But if you're up against the Dardanelles, that's fully explosive, and then this armor is not useful. A water tank, the good old water tank. You can still buy this at the manager at St. Anne and Tilok. It reduces the crew stamina depletion by 50 while bracing and increased stamina recovery. So, on a build where you want to brace a lot, so for instance on the snow, you can survive very long on bracing, which is great. And then there's LeFlo. A Loophole 3, always good. La Potente schematics, and the last two. Kalinikos Flame 3, and last but not least, a Great Springald 3. So as you can see here, we got a great sample size. We got like the majority of the Season 3 epics, which are always good. We got the Carronades, which were Season 1 Battle Pass item, which is also good. LeFlo, which you could buy in the store for Sovereign. 20-range Ballista, which you could find in throughout the map. Royal Custodian you still can get. Black Prince, which you only usually can get by the Cutthroat cargoes. And the Wailing Ward, and one of the two was in the Battle Pass and the other one you could purchase. I didn't know which one, but yeah. So I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, comment and sub, of course. And yeah, have fun today. See you in the next one. Bye bye.